3, 2, 1. How we doing, Terrell?
Doing excellent. Yourself?
I'm doing pretty swell. How's your day been?
It's been awesome. Started out 9 a.m. Good old discussion with person
Maybe,
I'm gonna
yeah.
potentially have a co-op with. That's pretty interesting.
Nice.
I know you had a couple yourself.
Yeah, we did the virtual career fair here at the NDSU. That shit was kind of I don't know. It was weird because I personally had like 2 of them that were just terrible. I mean, like, it's not the people's fault. It just is how it is. I mean, we had 7 minutes. I got in a little late. They let me in a little late.
Yeah,
it's how it is.
And some of those bigger companies, you know how it is. You're like 30th person in line. They got 75 more to go. They're just kind of belting you through there.
Absolutely.
Actually, I only had 1 today, so you definitely shot your shot more than I did.
Yeah, I decided, like, last year I applied for like 12 jobs over the summer, and a handful of them even fell through just because of COVID.
Yep.
And the other ones were like kind of just like, I'm just throwing my resume at them, hoping something happens.
I think
Cheers, bro.
yeah, for sure.
Appreciate you doing this.
No problem. I'm happy to do it. I think we were kind of in the same boat last year. I think we both really tried to put ourselves out there, and we both kind of fell short of what we wanted, and we kind of went back to doing stuff that wasn't as ideal as I think we'd hoped. But
Yeah, you did like contracting with like concrete, right?
I did that 2 summers ago. So this summer I was actually just chilling in Fargo working at Jimmy John's. So
Hey.
that was always fun.
JJ's.
And you painted still, correct, with your dad?
Yeah, I was just painting and doing that kind of stuff.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, I made pretty good money, and it was a lot of fun because me and my brother just goofed off while we were painting, and we work like we're doing good work. We just are constantly
You gotta
goofing off.
You gotta make fun with it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It would be terrible. Painting is such a brutal.
It'd be like
thing.
watching paint dry or something.
Yeah, literally, it's so bad. Sometimes we have to do that. Just like, all we're doing today is painting this ceiling twice. It's the most boring shit ever. It's terrible.
Just a
like
giant, like 40 by 80 ceiling.
we're literally waiting for it to dry, and it's the worst, dude. I freaking hate it.
Imagine
The Office, bro.
The Office.
Yeah. So so your girlfriend's halfway through it.
Yes, she's just been belting through the seasons. Like
Is this her first time?
This is
The mic's like down here, so I gotta pick it up and stand up comedian and shit. This is weird.
It's actually both of our first times, but she's loving it. We were always told like the first season was kind of dry and it took a little bit getting into, but it's hilarious. We love it.
Oh, really? You guys like the first season?
No, like not the first season. Absolutely not. But
Dude, the first season's fucking hilarious. Go fuck yourself.
Seriously?
Oh,
you think so?
Absolutely, dude. The first season is like when Michael is like his edgiest.
Yeah.
And it's so hilarious. Like the shit he says to like Toby and fucking Stanley and shit. Like, oh my god, they pull some wicked stuff.
Yeah, I don't disagree. He's pretty edgy in the first season, but I think the first season, like, Kevin isn't Kevin yet. Like Mindy, like Kelly isn't Kelly yet. Jim's an idiot. Like everyone's just not themselves yet.
I definitely think the characters develop a lot as the seasons progress, for sure.
Absolutely.
They get much funnier.
Yeah. So you're aware, like season 4 or something?
I think like season 4 or season 5 even we might be in.
So good. That's the best part.
I know. Like season 4 to like 6, I heard is just really fire. So I'm pretty excited.
I like it. And then, I mean, spoiler alert: Michael eventually leaves in like season something.
Yeah, actually, it was already a spoiler because I've seen memes and stuff about it,
Right.
even at the airport and whatnot. And then he gets replaced by Will Ferrell. Am I right? Well,
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it too much, but yes, he does eventually a
I
little
guess
bit.
I wasn't paying attention to anybody who hasn't seen The Office. I apologize.
Yeah, it does. It's fine. It's been out for so long. I feel like I've seen it. I dead ass think I've seen it like 10 times through. Like, it's one of those shows that I would just have on while I would do homework.
Yep, and I think Maddie's a lot of the same way when it comes to that. Like, she just has it in the background, but then, like, she's just watching it, and, like, she'll laugh at it and stuff. And, I mean, I'm the same way. Like, I can't really get in. Like, if I'm going to get into a show, I'm going to, like, sit down and be dedicated to the show, but there's certain shows you just have for background noise and while you're doing other things.
Yeah, The Office, How I Met Your Mother, and, like, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and like New Girl, I feel like are all those types of shows.
They are, for sure.
They're all just background noise shows.
You just don't, I mean, you could pay attention, but it's like,
Yeah, I always find myself paying attention that first season, like super intently, and just like seeing every character arc, every character development, every joke, and then after that first season, I'm like, I don't care anymore. I'll just have it on in the background.
I understand that 100%. That's actually why, like, I prefer to watch a lot of YouTube, just because YouTube, it's like super quick, like 20-minute videos, like 10-minute videos. I actually watch a lot of Good Mythical Morning.
Yeah, dude, that shit slaps. I love that
show.
Shout
out to GMM, you know.
You ever seen GMM?
Oh, it's so good.
So it's about two best friends. They're best friends since childhood, and they just eat food and they do weird game shows, and it's just like, it's a blast. Yeah, it's so much fun to watch.
It's like, this is all the stuff I want to know in life, and they just do it.
If you just put pizza in a waffle maker, is that good?
Like what happens?
Yeah, like highly suggest it to anyone. It's pretty freaking good.
They actually they did an episode where they used a waffle maker. It's the one Dan's talking about. They actually like they opened up like 5 bags of chips, and they actually like resealed the bags of chips with the waffle maker.
That was actually pretty sweet.
And it was actually pretty interesting. Like, it actually made 100% like sealed the whole bag shut with air and everything. So I was like, oh, you learn something new every day.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it's just physics. You're just melting plastic.
But yeah, but nobody thinks to like put it.
Yeah, but who's gonna use a waffle maker?
Who the fuck has a waffle maker? Like, for
you don't have a waffle maker?
You don't have a waffle maker?
I mean, like, okay, I don't have one up here at school either.
Exactly.
But like at home, like, do you have a waffle maker?
No, I don't have a.
Okay,
you have a fucking waffle maker?
Okay, I mean, I used to have a waffle maker. It's at my house, like at my house back home, I should say. I don't have one at my apartment.
All right, so tell me about this guy at the gym.
Oh boy. How many of those guys at the gym do I
see
every day? No, the guy at the gym today, he took my headset off for about maybe like 20 seconds to these two goons just talking about taking DMT and going to the gym, and I was like, first things first, you didn't take DMT and then walk into the wellness center. No. If you don't know, the NDSU Wellness Center has at least 50 to 100 people at all times in that building. And I don't know if for them people who haven't or don't know about DMT or what it is, but you definitely don't want to be doing DMT in this type of an environment.
DMT is dimethyltryptamine, extremely strong hallucinogenic drug. It's used for like, I don't know, it's used in like, it's synthetic and they use it in pharmaceuticals. And when you take it, you have an extremely intense trip where you actually black out. And so for this man to be making that claim, it's near impossible because you black out right when you ingest DMT.
And then he also claimed that he came in. So he, after the fact that he claimed he took the DMT, he then claimed that he was bench pressing aliens to further reinforce his story that obviously wasn't true from the start.
Yeah.
So it was, I mean,
why do you think people like have to like flex like that? Like, why they got to like lie and try to?
I mean, I feel like they just need attention. Like, I feel like it's
fucking boring. That's why.
I feel like it's kind of like the same thing. Like, why do people go to the gym and have to act a certain way around certain people? Like, why don't you go to the gym to just focus on yourself type of deal?
Right.
Like, I mean, people do, and I'm not going to say for everybody, like, it's obviously different, but I'm guessing for, like, you and I, we go to the gym because that we enjoy going to the gym. We don't go to the gym to, like, impress others or, like,
no.
You just go there to, like, be a better version of yourself. And I feel like the people who don't do that are the people who have to say stuff like that.
Right. They're like, trying, I don't even know. That's like a one-up thing. You're like, bro, I did this one thing. You did it. Like,
we still
just, like, overindulging. But, no, I definitely go to the gym to try to, like, you know, I mean, I wear douchey, like, cutoffs, but, like, that's for my own sake. I just like looking at myself in the mirror. I mean,
there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you haven't worn a cutoff to the gym, you haven't been to the gym.
No, but people are always, like, I don't know, especially, like, women, they don't like going to the gym. Like, they feel like people are sitting there judging them. And, like, especially, like big people, like, people that are, like, obese or overweight, and they feel like they don't want to go to the gym because they feel like they're going to get judged. And dead ass, when I look at people in the gym that are like that, I think, like, dude, you're killing it, bro. Exactly. A lot of people like you aren't doing this shit.
Exactly.
Like, they aren't putting in the work.
It's kind of sad that people will actually, like, think that, like, or it'll cross their mind, like, oh, like, why are you even in the gym? when they're just like literally they're just trying to be better, like a better version of themselves.
Right.
And I think like that's the ultimate goal to like go to the gym, like is to just be a better version of yourself. So like I feel like if you go to the gym, you should definitely try to like pick these people up instead of just bashing them down. But then
Right.
of course you got like, you know, your big meatheads that go in there and, you know, but you know, who knows? They could be trying to be a better version of themselves, and they're just like, I envy them, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Man, we got some big boys up in that. Like, man, a lot of these people I'm questioning are like, I mean, nothing wrong with taking performance enhancing drugs, but it's like, damn, it's like on the cusp. They're like, there's no way you could get there natural, right? Like, I don't know. I'm always trying to see if I could get to something natural. I'm pretty skinny right now, but I think eventually, like, my goal is to get as big as I can natural, and then if I still enjoy lifting, then actually like maybe take something because I've already maxed out my like natural body.
I think people actually steroids and other performing enhancing drugs are actually a lot more common than people think they are. Like I would say a lot of influencers who aren't like too big or like people who don't like play sports professionally, like a lot of people actually use enhancing drugs.
See, we're about to go in a rabbit hole because I love the NFL. I love football. I love it. Love it to death. I only watch the NFL. I don't watch the NBA. I don't watch the MLB. I don't watch any other thing. Only NFL. There's no way that Saquon Barkley isn't on something. Dude is that like he's huge.
His genetics definitely don't make sense.
Like Danielle Hunter, can you tell me that man, that beast of a man is not on something?
No, like you would definitely have to make the assumption, and if he's not, like, I need his regiment because
I know.
There's something like you got to be eating, you got to be like exercising for like 8 hours a day, you got to be doing something if you're not like using an enhancing drug, because like I mean just from personal experience, like I feel like I eat fairly clean, I eat like a decent amount of calories, and I lift like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, like kind of depends on the day, but like I don't grow the way like some of these guys can grow.
Yeah. Now don't get me wrong, a lot of it's genetics. I don't, like looking literally just at my family, like we don't have the best genetics for like gaining muscle. But when I look at, I had a lot of friends in high school who, I mean, like you look at their dads and they're just massive just to begin with, and they never took anything.
Yeah. Can I see your phone so I can take a picture for the Instagram?
Sure. Just double tap the side. Yeah. But I mean, it's that's just genetics. But I think that so like to go back to like kind of the PEDS thing in the NFL though, I would say that I've listened to some podcasts with former professional NFLers, and they've talked about how like the piss test works.
Yep.
And so Pat McAfee, shout out to him, but he talked about it specifically in depth, and I watched a YouTube video about how it's done. And so what they do is once a year, or like a month after 420, they will do one piss test, and they test for everything.
Really?
And they're guaranteed to do that. The only time that they will test you more than that is if they have suspicion that you've either done drugs or done performance enhancing drugs. So like, smoked weed or done some mushrooms or, anything else, and then also performance enhancing drugs. So like, for instance, if, partier, Gronkowski, right?
Yep.
Instant partier on Instagram, whatever. He probably has been tested. I don't know. This is just me shooting out of my butt, but he's probably been tested. He's probably been tested a lot of times for weed because, I mean, he's Gronk. Like, he parties all the time. He has that
big party guy.
Yeah. And so but the other guy, I don't remember which running back it was, but he went off like several weeks in a row, and they tested him for like performance enhancing drugs because he was doing so well. And I feel like they got to be doing that with like Saquon or like CMC, like Christian McCaffrey, where they're going off all the time and they're just killing it. And then, there's no way they can be natural.
And then maybe time and time again, the other flip of the coin, if you want to play devil's advocate, maybe they are 100% natural.
Dude.
And that it could just be...
If they are.
That'd be insane.
Yeah. Like, if they are, that would be even...
If you guys haven't checked out Saquon Barkley's Instagram, just go look at that beast of a man. Like... His genetics are just
Saquon
phenomenal.
Barkley is not only...
Saquon's injured.
Yeah, he is.
Out for the rest of the season. He tore his ACL.
So his ACL, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that.
Big sad for fantasy. I have CMC on my fantasy squad. Big sad.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CMC's not out, is he?
No, he's out for 6 weeks.
Yeah. I got Michael Thomas, dude. They were like, oh, he's out
Michael
for...
Thompson.
Michael Thompson. Dude, they're like, oh, he's out for 6 weeks. And then it was like, oh, he's out for 4 weeks. And then, like, this past Tuesday, they're like, he's questionable for
What
Sunday.
the frick?
Yeah, no,
How do they do that?
So he had a high ankle sprain.
Right.
And,
those are usually pretty bad, though, because CMC has a high ankle sprain. But
Yeah,
this-
they're usually pretty bad, but they think the diagnosis was wrong. They think the diagnosis
okay.
was, like, completely wrong. They think he might have just strained a tendon. Like, his Achilles tendon. They think he might have just strained it, which is, you're out for, like, 10 days.
Oh,
You
weird.
just have to rest it for 10 days and, like...
Just ice that shit. Because they have perfect recovery in the NFL. I mean,
Yeah.
they have everything under the sun. Cryotherapy, they got everything. Yeah. But, that's the other thing, right? Oh, so going back to the piss test thing. They piss test once a year. And once you do that piss test, you're good. That's it. Like, you're good.
That's
you don't get
crazy.
tested again unless they have suspicion to test you again.
It's kind of crazy. So, like, you could just, like, pop off, and that's kind of, like, the only way you're going to get, like, really noticed is if you're just, like, popping off and you're just, like, just way ahead of the game.
Right.
Which, I mean, they probably do just piss test random people, but, like, you don't hear of people just always constantly getting thrown out for using performance-enhancing drugs.
Right. It's pretty rare, but my theory is that a lot of these guys are doing, like, they got millions of dollars in the bank, right? So
Correct.
I mean, they can be a little bit ahead of the curve of what they're testing. So if they know that they're going to test this specific, molecule, they can basically take that molecule, edit it just a little bit, and add like a few little features to that molecule. Add like an oxygen or nitrogen or hydrogen, and then you can't test for that anymore. I learned about this in chemistry.
That's just crazy.
But the idea behind it is that it's not the same chemical anymore. Like, if you add any, like, one singular atom to, like, any sort of thing, like, the difference between methamphetamine and Adderall is literally one carbon atom.
Yeah,
That's
and
it.
and the difference between like sugar and like
Glucose is...
well and meth even is
Yeah,
like
I was
only a
gonna
matter
say-
of
I
like
was
2 or
gonna
3.
say-
Yeah.
So but here's the thing is that what you can do theoretically is do that with a steroid, but add something that is completely irrelevant that doesn't affect like the human or doesn't change what the steroid does.
So
that make sense?
So essentially, you're saying they take the steroid, but they splice it with some sort of other atom so that it's non-traceable.
Yes.
Okay,
I mean-
that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think that's like going out too far on a limb to say because like you got to think like with all these professional athletes, there has to be so many, at least a handful that are using these type of like performance-enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
And you don't ever hear anybody like getting caught up in it or anything.
Right. It's
Like,
only a
very
handful of
rare.
people, and it's a lot of times it's not even like the guys that are playing that get caught. It's the guys on like the practice squad that are like, "Oh, I want to get better. Like I only make like $500,000 a year. I only make $1 million. I need to get better."
Only make $500K, dude.
Can you imagine complaining about that? Complaining about making $500K a year?
You ever heard that Tosh.0 stand-up where he's like, why the fuck would Tom Brady ever quit? Like, why would he ever fucking quit? He's making multiple millions of dollars a year, and then they're like, he turns like 45. He's no longer as good as he is. He doesn't have the same arm or the same mobility. They're like, well, you want to be on the practice squad? Pays like, $1 million a year. He's like, sure, fuck it.
Yeah, like why the hell not?
Why
ever
wouldn't
leave?
you?
Right? No, there's no reason to.
And it'd be so easy for him too, especially when that dude loves the game. Like that dude could eat up football like until he's like 60. I bet.
Yeah, that's
like
that's the thing is. Sorry.
no, you're good. Like I'm maybe not like playing the game. Like I see him like probably retiring like within the next 5 years for sure. Like I don't see him playing another 5 years after this year. I don't think.
Dude, he's already slowing down.
Yeah,
so much.
especially like now that he's with the Bucks. Like I don't want to say like just because he left the Patriots that like this is like him falling off or anything. But like I just think I think he's had a good career.
Oh, he's like a great
Just
career.
the best career.
The best career
Best
ever.
career.
Like 6 or 7 Super Bowls or something. COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine. We're not going to kill you.
It's
Yeah.
not like people
I hope
on
not.
campus don't have it anywhere. That's the
Dude,
thing.
like 7% of campuses had COVID. Like
Really?
that's what my hydro teacher told me.
That's 7% of what we know of.
Exactly.
That's-
That's
you know
only who have been tested.
You know why UND closed down, right? Because they forced everybody to get tested after the entire football team tested positive. That's the only
Wild.
everyone had to get tested, and then like once they hit like a threshold of like 20% of the people had it, they just shut school down.
Wait, so they're just fully online now?
Yeah, 100%.
Huh.
It's crazy.
I didn't know that. I
Only-
knew that they forced people to get tested, but I didn't know that
Well,
they completely shut down.
What I think NDSU is like doing, NDSU is kind of like ignoring it, almost to like the
Oh,
aspect of like
100%.
They don't
almost-
care.
No, they can't afford to care. They have to keep people here until like at least November, at least.
Well, they also got the 23, like, I don't want to like say an exact number, but like anywhere from like 20 to 25 million dollar grant to like
It
put
was only
this.
10 mil.
Was it only 10 mil? Okay. I wasn't like exactly sure on the dollar amount, but they got that HighFlex program installed like all over the campus. So I think they're going to like really try to like keep going with school as long as they can with this type of. But I mean, it was just last week. I had one of my classes, IME 460. You're in it, Dan. It just went online. So, I mean, it's only a matter of time where students are already, like, not going to class, and it's just going to all be online soon.
Right.
I can just
Have you-
feel it.
Have you been to any bars in Fargo at all, like recently?
Zero.
I have not been to any bars.
So I went to a bar 2 weekends ago, and I like wore a mask in the Uber and shit, and like that's required to like take an Uber is you have to wear a mask. And then like when I got to the bar, it like I walked in wearing the mask, and like everyone's heads like turned to me and looked, because not a single fucking person in this packed ass bar, the Bulldog in like West Fargo, was not wearing a mask.
Dude, are you kidding me?
Not a single person.
Did they just ignore the
They don't give a fuck.
That's scary.
Jesus.
dude.
They
man.
don't. They don't give a flying fuck, and like people are like acting like it's normal, like it's a normal bar.
Well, would you be able to do me a favor and look up how many like college kids have died in Fargo, North Dakota from COVID though?
Yeah, that would be.
Right, like literally like none.
Yeah,
and we're still doing this shit, and probably like thousands of people have gotten it, and nothing happens.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting statistic, like to actually like if it was a statistic you could find. I don't know how specific.
Well, I think you can find an age range in North Dakota.
Yeah, maybe
And
an
I would
age
assume, I mean, the highest population is in Fargo, so you can kind of make the assumption that it would probably be maybe a college kid.
I don't know if either one of you guys know, but Fargo's actually mandating masks are mandatory everywhere in the start of October.
Oh, well, that's kind of good.
It is a good thing because
So,
the cases are
It's
skyrocketing.
like here, 98 total confirmed positive cases, 95 students and 3 employees reported to NDSU in the past 2 weeks as of 9 a.m. Wednesday,
see-
September 23rd.
Get this. So there were 104 on
102 or 172.
no. But there were 104 positive cases in the last 2 weeks, and that was 1 week ago. And then a week before that, there were 124 cases in the last 2 weeks. So our curve is actually technically going down here at NDSU. Does that make sense? So like
Correct.
2 weeks ago, counting the past 2 weeks from 2 weeks ago, there were 124 people positive.
Yes.
1 week ago, counting the last 2 weeks. Yeah.
we got
Okay.
the statistics literally right here on the
Perfect.
Yeah, that's fucked up, dude. Like, look at that. 164 is our peak at 914.
So it is going down because we have less than 100 now.
But the issue isn't the students; it's the employees. Like, look at the amount of employees that are getting infected.
Yeah, it's kind
and
of
it
a lot.
continues. Like it, each day, it's employee positives. It's more and more, and like the employees, like think about like Dr. Bob or something like that. Like Dr.
Right.
Bob, if he gets infected, he's more than likely going to infect his wife, and if his wife gets infected, she's going to die because she has underlying health issues.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying keep it open, keep it closed, whatever. I like being here though, but you never know if those employees are like janitors or I don't know, maybe like TAs or something.
Yeah, they could be people,
Could be anyone.
They could come in contact with a bunch of different people on a daily basis. You just really don't know.
Right.
And also, like, I'm not sure. Like, I haven't done like a ton of research into like COVID-19, but like, I would just assume as other diseases.
You gotta show that. Like I'm trying to readjust my shorts, man.
I would assume that like as other diseases and other like illnesses, like the older you are, the more susceptible you are to getting these type of diseases. So these people who are testing positive that are employees could be older than the majority of the people here on campus who could bounce back quite easily from COVID-19.
Absolutely.
Well,
So-
there's actually like there's so many like independent studies that have been coming out about COVID-19. Like I know on the Joe Rogan podcast they talked about how like one of the people that he knows that studies COVID, they did like a study where when COVID actually, like, somebody who has COVID and they like exhale outside in front of like UV light or sunlight or anything like that, artificial sunlight, whatever it may be, it dies almost instantly.
Yeah.
So like artificial sunlight and like sunlight almost kills it almost instantly upon contact.
That's one point in the many points as to why people think that COVID came out of that lab, because I don't know if you ever heard the theory about the Wuhan like lab. About that lady.
I have.
Oh, did I send you that?
No, you didn't send it to me, but
I really am interested to hear about this.
The lady who had proof that COVID was made in the lab.
I heard that some woman was investigating it. It was, I believe, a Chinese woman, and so here's the theory, right? So the theory is that there's the lab of Wuhan, and the theory is that that lab is what they accidentally released that to the public. And it's actually an international research lab that gets funding from all over the world.
Okay.
It's funding from the U.S., China, Canada, like everywhere.
A bunch of different countries, okay.
Yep, that's her. That's the exact one I watched. So Chinese virologist claims that COVID-19 essentially came from the lab, was made in Wuhan lab. So, yeah, so there's many parts of this theory, and I it was so long ago when I actually was like really into this, super like conspiracy theory in it.
And yeah.
But one of the theories one of the many reasons that they think it came out of the lab, right? It is instantly killed by UV light. It has snippets within the RNA or DNA, I don't remember which one, that seem like they were edited. Like, it doesn't seem like it can mutate that way.
It doesn't seem natural.
Yep. And that was said by a microbiologist, a professor, not just a PhD, a professor, which is much higher than a PhD. And his name is what the heck is this guy's name? Well, he's a microbiologist, a PhD, and Weinstein. He's a Weinstein. Brett Weinstein.
Brett Weinstein.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's a microbiologist, and that was two of the parts. I don't remember the other ones, but it was like he made a very compelling claim that this actually came out of the lab. Now, one of the reasons that people are saying that it did not come out of the lab is because it's a research institution. It's a research lab. And if people start hearing that these research institutions are letting out pandemic level
chemical diseases,
right? No one's going to want to fund that anymore.
They will just shut down all of these research facilities.
So this dude, this virologist, I believe, from the U of M, instantly went onto the Joe Rogan podcast and started talking about, no. There's no way this came out of a lab. It was clearly from a bat and then got into an anteater, and this happens all the time. No, it doesn't happen all the time. Because how does this travel from a bat, then to a human, and instantly be this contagious? It's something that seems like it was bred.
Yeah, it was almost like they were making it, and then it was like mistakenly obtained by like some other person, and then it kind of just broke out into this big thing. Like, it doesn't seem probable that, it came from a bat from a wet market, and then somebody ate said bat, and then boom, COVID-19.
Yeah.
And especially with how fast it spreads, it just doesn't add up, man.
Because, man, it's a respiratory, it's just brutal. So, I gotta think for a second. So this lab has actually already had issues with sanitation in the past, where they literally have been, written up and, they've been basically punished for letting other stuff out before. They've had very bad sanitation issues. I mean, there was this thing about a chimpanzee running off with a virus, and it was from that lab. And how does this not add up? How are people not talking about this?
That's wild.
This is the biggest fucking cover up ever.
It took a test tube and ran off with it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, what the hell is this?
And
what the hell is China?
And you don't see it anywhere on the internet, or nobody's talking about it.
And so this woman.
Well, one of the biggest things that's been going on right now is every sort of left-wing media source or news source has been trying to cover up any sort of anyone who's been questioning where COVID came from, or COVID's origin or anything like that. I know there was a couple people who got they got their videos pulled off YouTube for the fact that they said like COVID was made in the lab. And Tucker Carlson, when he interviewed the Chinese virologist, he interviewed her and he was like asking her about these claims that she was making, and he's like, "Are you sure these are true?" And then she had like evidence to back it up. She's like, "The way it's mutated, the way the genetics are, it's clearly made. It was clearly designed to do this." And that shit got taken down by Facebook. So that video is no longer on Facebook or YouTube. You can't find it on either of those sources. I had to find it on the New York Times to actually watch the video with her.
So what influence, or like why, what reason does Facebook have to take it down?
Because they're cunts.
They just don't want to spread that. Like, do they think it's misinformation?
They
Because
do.
they have like policy about misinformation, spreading misinformation. But
That is their claim, yes, that it's misinformation. But Facebook's just full of a bunch of cunts, dude. That's really true.
that's so stupid, because if this is real, like, I mean, for one, they just need to fix the sanitation issue. I mean, we don't need to stop funding, but like this is an insanely big problem, because if this ever happens again and it was made in a freaking lab, like, worse shit could happen. Worse shit could get released.
And I mean, it's kind of interesting because these platforms, like, they strike down any videos that they don't want that they don't want the majority of people to see. Like, it's not as relevant as the COVID-19 situation, but I follow an artist who's an independent artist who kind of likes to speak his mind. His name's Tom McDonald. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he says some very controversial things, and YouTube will actually like blackball him. And like his videos, he has videos in the past where he doesn't talk about controversial things, and they trend on YouTube very heavily. Like, they'll be trending #1 for 24 hours, like a long time. And then he'll say something that's really relevant, or like a problem that's going on in the world today. And then
That is controversial.
and YouTube will strike it down.
And it
like,
won't trend or
It won't
anything.
trend at all.
Okay.
And like, it's just interesting. Like, so people will talk about problems, and YouTube and Facebook and all these big social media apps will strike down these people that are trying to like give people a voice and talk about things that need to be fixed. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. Like, if you
No, it makes perfect sense. It makes
yeah.
perfect sense.
I
They're
know-
basically controlling what people hear.
Exactly.
And that's one of the biggest things, like Andrew Schultz talked about. Like, when he talked about like the Ghislaine Maxwell situation and like Trump wishing her well and shit, that whole incident, like, that shit got taken down by Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube almost instantly.
Andrew Schultz's video.
Yeah, Andrew Schultz's video
I saw
about
it.
the Ghislaine Maxwell
I
thing.
saw it.
That's crazy.
Because it's true.
Because
It's true.
Well,
like,
that's
exactly why they took it down.
yeah.
They know it's true.
Yeah.
They can't. That's the problem with these like giant media sources that like don't abide by the First Amendment, right? Like, we have no right to say whatever the fuck we want on those media sites because of the fact that they're privately owned. They're privately owned sectors. They can choose who they want to be on their platform. It's like owning a TV station.
So I guess, do we think that it's individuals, or do we think it's like the board of directors sitting there like, we should take down Andrew Schultz's video because we know it's true?
It's not.
It's got to be individuals.
No, it's the issue right now is entirely like their AI system that filters videos, filters out the videos that are there, because no one person can do that. 500 hours is uploaded. 500 hours of videos is uploaded to YouTube every minute. 500 hours worth of videos is uploaded to YouTube every minute. You can't have a populace large enough to filter that out. You
So
would need every
filter-
single person in the world to do that. So
Right.
the AI systems right now are pretty shoddy. They're pretty shoddy in their jobs, and they're just taking down videos that are, following by their guidelines. It's like a filter system, and they're just filtering through. And it's at this point, it's really no one's fault. It's just too new.
It's just from the AI. It's just a byproduct of it, I guess.
But who designs the AI to take down certain things?
Right.
AI does.
The AI designs the AI. I think
The
it's people
AI
behind
designs
the
the
AI.
AI.
I think they're looking for keywords.
I think
And that's how it works.
I think the people behind the AIs who design the AIs to filter the videos, they say if anything along this line comes across, strike it down immediately.
Right.
And that's what happens.
So, politics. I gotta know, dude. I gotta know.
Bring it up.
What are you thinking for this next election?
I honestly think that Trump's going to win it. And I mean, I'm not going to go into like details on why I think he's going to win it, but I think like it's probably going to be one of the most controversial elections that we've ever had. That's what I'm gonna boil it down to. And like, it's not that I don't like to talk about politics. It's just so controversial. Like, I don't want to say something that's gonna like
upset anyone.
Like, you know,
I hate to put you on the spot.
Just,
I do like, but yeah, I mean, everyone's free to have their own opinion, regardless of what YouTube says. I think everyone can say what they want.
And here's another thing: like, say what you want. I don't vote, and my vote, and the reason I don't vote is because I try to like stay as far away as I can from politics, because I think it really kind of, if you focus on politics too much, it can like interfere with what you do on a day-to-day basis, if that makes sense. Like, if you really follow politics and like you really,
huge investment of time.
yes, it is. Like, if you really want to follow up with all these politics, or like even global events, like people, like today, for example, somebody came up to me and was like, oh, did you hear that the world's ending in November because the Antarctic ice cap is melting? And I was like, no, because I don't follow that. Because you know what you're going to do if you follow that? You're going to worry. And then you can't live your life normal. So, like, what do? Like, if you just think about all these what-ifs, you just kind of incorporate all these what-ifs into your life, and then you're constantly not thinking about what you're tangibly doing all the time.
Yeah.
So I try to, like, kind of keep my life to what I do on a day-to-day basis, if that makes sense.
I appreciate that.
So,
I've literally never heard you. I don't think I've ever heard you talk about politics. Ever.
It's because I just don't like to meddle in politics, and a lot of people like to, and I don't like blame people for wanting to be a part of politics. Just me personally, I just try to stay out of all of it.
Dude,
That's
it is
just
so
how it is.
interesting watching people out there. It's just like, sorry, you got our window open today.
It's even more interesting, like, on the weekends, you just see the weirdest people walking around campus all the time.
Yeah, so, but like, man, the politics, it could be a coin flip right now as to who I think is going to win.
Really?
Yeah, dude, because, like, Biden.
Hold on, let me just say something real quick. When I drove back from Fargo to Duluth, I saw...
How many fucking Trump things did you see?
Oh, I think I counted them my first time there, and then on my way back, and I took the average, and it was like 158. I saw like 158
Holy
different Trump signs in like areas, because there's like there's houses and like businesses that have like shitloads of Trump stuff on it, and like these were different places, and then I only saw like 2 Biden and Harris signs.
Yeah,
But that's northern Minnesota. We're very red.
Yeah, I could speak to like St. Paul area where my girl's at.
very
I mean, when we go on like walks around the neighborhood, we see the signs that say like Biden, and then we see Biden Harris, and then we see by Don, and they're all amazing. But like no Trump things, because if you have a Trump thing, like a Trump sign, you are going to get eggs. You're gonna get it taken down. Like, someone's gonna destroy it. It's just, that's the nature of the city.
And I mean,
but like that's the problem with like the like left leaning people right now, is that they're becoming exactly what they were trying to fight against in like 2008. Like, remember when Bush was getting out of, like, you guys probably don't remember this, and I barely remember it myself, but I've done quite a bit of research on this. And like back in like 2008, there were tons of like liberal people talking shit about like all the conservatives that were throwing a hissy fit online and throwing a hissy fit like on TV and like on news sources because Obama had won, and they were talking shit. They were ripping Obama signs off people's lawns, and liberals were like, oh, look at these pieces of shit just being so violent and not understanding and not taking the time and compassion to understand that I'm a person with my own views. And then, fucking 2020 rolls around. No, not even that. 2016 rolls around when it was Trump and Hillary, and liberals are doing the same thing that they, were fighting against in the past.
Oh, it happens every 4 years, bro. Like 100%. I mean, here's what I'll say to who I think is ripping it off, though. I think it's the same people that went and protested after the George Floyd stuff and after everything that's happened in Kenosha and just around the world. Yeah. I think it's those people, because I don't think that, Judy that has 2 kids and has a Biden thing, I don't think she's going out in the middle of the night ripping people's signs off. I think it's probably like the kids of our age that maybe don't have much going on in life and just kind of feel like they want to do something.
I mean, it's crazy how politics can just really just put a hook in like what's going on in like just a year, Like, it's weird, you go like 3 2-3 years and everything's like, it's not like perfect, but like it's okay, right? And then election time comes around, and the year
of election.
Let's just say the year of election, 2012, 2016, 2020.
Right. It's those years, bro.
It's the wild years when there's an election, when the weirdest things happen in the world. And is it a coincidence?
Yeah, wasn't the world supposed to end in 2020 or 2012?
2012, yeah. The Mayan calendar ended. And now they're saying 2020 because the calendar was off and that 8 years were supposed to be.
Do they always say that?
No,
And
they actually did that. They actually did that math in 2013. They're
Yeah,
like, oh yeah.
They reevaluated the calendar to say 2020.
All right, I guess we'll find out. It's not going to end, but, Like, I mean, if I make that bet, I can only be right, because if we die, I can't be wrong.
The
I'll be
simulation
dead, right?
just went bad.
Hey, we are in a okay. I'm not saying we are in a simulation, but how likely is it? Like, we could be in a simulation.
It's more likely than that. It's more likely that we're in a simulation than that we're not in a simulation.
I would
Mathematically, actually.
I would put it
What? Just because you say mathematically doesn't make it true. Mathematically speaking.
No, it was proven on the fucking JRE podcast. It was proven like by some.
But
it
how
was
do you-
literally
how
by
do
an
you-
astrophysicist. He was like, yeah, like statistically, we're actually in because like there's more. If you do the math, like there's more variables where you are in a simulation to where you're not.
I mean, I've thought about it so
Okay.
much. If you go ahead.
No, it's all you.
All
You're
right.
good.
So if you take a baby and you put a headset on them, you put one of those like shitty VR headsets, and you put like AirPods in their ears, and we come up with a suit in the next few years that is able to like simulate feeling, and you put that on a baby and have it grow throughout its life, and all it knows is that those goggles, those same AirPods, and the same suit, and it's never seen the actual world. It would not know what reality is really like.
100%.
How do you know that we are not in that?
100%. And you can't, and that's where like the controversy is. Like that's where you have to have hope.
You got
But I mean, like you can either look at it like from a practical standpoint. I feel like the people who don't contemplate the different ideas, like there's only going to be a heaven, or like it's going to be like people can't ponder the idea of multiple things because it scares them. But it's like I feel like the people who can actually look past like what life is and like being alive is like you can just like kind of think more of like what it is. Like I tangibly don't just think like, I believe in God, I'm going to go to heaven like after this life. Because like if I were to think that, like, it's just like false hope, because I don't believe that, but like some people do believe that, and it's just interesting that they can't have like multiple opinions. Like, how many people, if you were to walk up to them in the street and say, "Hey, we're just in a simulation," how many people are going to say that it's true?
No, yeah, well, as of right now, probably not many.
I would say there'd be a trivial few that might say that.
Because I'd be like, it probably
Probably
Why
could
not?
be. Like, it's possible. But pretty much, you made a really good point just now. Like, you don't know. Like, you said, if you took somebody and that's all they knew was what you showed them and what they listened to,
Yeah.
like, what else do they know?
Yeah, where my hope comes in is, regardless of what you believe religiously is, or even what religion, or if you believe in no religion is, if we have no other, like, life outside of this one, why not make the best of this one? Like, you can think of it in a really sad way of, like, this is the only life I got. Like,
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of it in like, yo, this is the only life I got. I'm gonna fucking kill it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the best I can. I'm gonna work my ass off to try to get where I want to go.
And I 100% agree with you. And this is where it comes into the fact where, like, I'll have a conversation with somebody. I'm like, if your belief is that you only live once in your life, then why aren't you doing more?
Right.
Why aren't you experiencing more? If you're only going to experience something once and it's going to only happen once, why not try it?
Right.
Why not do it?
That's why I feel like dog shit when I just sit there for hours watching YouTube.
Yeah, like
like I do it all the time and I don't care.
Like,
I just
like when you waste the time away, you're like, why am I not doing more? But then you're like, Well, I mean,
You can't always do
you
stuff.
can't always
Yeah.
do stuff because it's not practical to always do stuff,
No.
obviously.
I mean, you have to take breaks. There are times in your life where you got to just sit and watch YouTube and just be a couch potato and let your mind go to mush. I mean, it's
drugs.
well, I mean, you got to enjoy things in life. You got to get your dopamine receptors up sometimes.
Oh yeah.
That's
why I jerk off 4 times.
that's a little excessive in my opinion. No, but man, like, I mean, I'm just of the motto, like, regardless of what's next, make the best of what you got now.
I 100%, I couldn't agree more. And like, I'm not gonna point out any names, but we know people in our day-to-day lives who maybe haven't experienced as much as they could, but I feel like if people don't want to experience something, like, you shouldn't be able to imply like, whoa, this might be the only chance you have to do it, because like everybody gets their one opportunity if that's the case, and however they want to spend their one opportunity is 100% up to them. Like, I can't go up to somebody and be like, well, why aren't you trying these things? Like, you only get to live one time.
Right.
Like, if you want to live your one life and you don't want to experience things, that's 100% on you. But
Right.
like, I'll tell you what I've experienced and like tell you what's good, what I've thought is good, what's bad, and I'll suggest it to you, and I'll be 100% honest every time. Like, I'm probably one of the most honest people.
That's
on the
something I
planet.
appreciate
Like,
about you.
Like,
Is your honesty.
if you want to like come up to me and talk to me, like, I'm an open book. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you.
You don't lie ever.
I don't. I don't.
It's awesome. I appreciate
like
that.
lying
man.
is such a I really don't understand why people do it, because it is so empty. Because like, what are you lying about? Like, if your logic is that you only live one time, then why would you lie to anybody about anything? Like,
Well,
I'm just saying.
here's, bro, I did DMT and then went and worked. Like, get the fuck out of here. Dude. Like, who cares?
Why do you
like,
gotta
no
say
one
that to
cares.
somebody? And I'm not gonna say like in the past, like when I was young, like, you know, everybody lies. Like, somebody's lied about, oh, like, I went and did this, and like you went and did something else. Like, okay, you lied for like something, but like,
Oh yeah.
if somebody
I
asked,
totally banged that chick. I totally. That's like the
Well,
biggest,
everyone's kind of fallen into that.
dude. That's
I mean,
the biggest lie that's ever been told. I
Yes.
totally banged that chick.
Yes.
When you just ate her out and then she's like, your dick's gross. Like, she's like, I got my nut. That's it.
Yeah, I've definitely made that claim before. I've definitely told that lie. But now I would say I'm similar to you. I don't lie very often. I'd like to be upfront, because why put up a smoke screen?
yeah, there's like, the problem with putting up a smoke screen and like just like putting yourself out there is because if you explain that you're somebody who you're not on a day-to-day basis, people are going to expect you to be that person. And if you're not that person on a day-to-day basis, they're going to be like, so you lied to me.
Right.
Like, why would you just not be upfront from the jump? Like, if you're going to be my friend or like anything like that, just be my friend from the jump. Like, be honest.
Right, because you
Like-
have something to live up to if you're telling lies about, like,
Exactly.
oh, you know, I can bench this much when you really can. Like, I mean, this is
Like,
just a simple
exactly.
example, but like, you can't. Why are you even
Yeah,
lying?
why even
the
bring
fuck's
that?
the point?
Why even bring up that point of like, oh, I can bench 250 pounds if you can't do it? Like, I'd rather you be honest with me and just tell me like, hey, I can only bench this much. Well, let's work at it together. Like, I can
Right.
help you,
Right.
or like we can help each other. Like,
Right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's just growing old. I think that's just becoming more mature, and like your frontal lobe is just developing more.
Yeah.
I would
That's
say-
very true.
I would say like it does come with age. Like, the older you get, the wiser you get, and it's like true. Like, the more you actually like think about like what life is, and you just kind of like, your brain's just constantly working in this fashion, you just like, your brain develops so much, and I feel like mine's developed so much since I've actually like just went to college and I've experienced so much more. And it really has. Like, in high school, I was just like, I like to have fun. like, ooh, I play sports and I get to get money for like nothing and eat for free.
Right. Like, you don't appreciate anything.
You don't appreciate anything, and like, then you're like an adult. You're like, dude, like, I have groceries in my house.
I got like a fridge that I packed.
You get excited when you like spend money on groceries. You know, like, who does that?
Literally.
Like an adult. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I paid rent for the next month. Woo! The party. Like, I don't, you know what I mean?
Dude,
Like,
100%, bro. Like, think about that, that boy that you were when you graduated high school.
oh, just crazy.
I was such a
young and-
cringy fuck.
I would say most people would agree.
Like, dude, I'm a senior in college now, and I still feel like I have so much to learn. And I know I do, because everyone will tell you, oh, no, I was a senior in college, I didn't know shit. But even me, from just now to me being a senior in high school, the shit that I have learned is astronomical.
Yeah, it's just, you can't even quantify really what you've learned, like,
No.
in that much time. Like, I feel like my brain was, like, literally just, like, it was so confined to, like, just what high school is and, like, just, like, having fun, not really thinking about, like, what life... It's 100% true. Like,
Oh, I'm good.
my
Unless he
parents...
wants it.
Like, oh, that'd be awesome. Thank you so much. My parents told me, like... And I didn't think it was true until, like, recently. Though, like, life will hit you someday. And I think, like, that moment was, like, right as I left my house. You know what I mean? Like, I moved to moved to Fargo, came to NDSU, and I was like, I guess this is the real deal. Like, I'm doing this.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that moment for me specifically was probably around, like, well, my parents would let me be pretty, like, independent in college, or I mean high school.
Yep.
But I would say that moment...
I was the same way.
Yeah, I was absolutely at Itasca Community College. Was when, like, I felt like I started to really change, you know? Because, like, what's up, Tom? Dude, Bud, I love it. Your chest is looking so nice. I like it.
I think that goes honestly like hand in hand with just like responsibility, like realizing that like, you know, you got to grind your shit to get to where you want to be, and you got to like work hard at shit to do what you want to do. Like we're doing this podcast at like what 7 at night. We had a fucking career fair today on top of classes and fucking homework, and I did squats today, dude. Like my whole day, like I've been up for already like 13, 14 hours, and I'm sick of it. Like,
Dude, I got up at 6:15 a.m. to get ready, to get in my suit, to have 5 interviews, then to do a quiz, and now I do a pod, and I still have to do homework after this. And I'm gonna get to bed by about 10:30.
Yeah. Dude, it's responsibility.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand. Like I feel like your frontal lobe probably just develops so
Excuse me.
much faster with like responsibility, like realizing that like you gotta grind that shit and you gotta work, and like once you realize that like you gotta work, you appreciate doing things that are fun. You appreciate them so much more. You appreciate opinions more. And I think that goes hand in hand with our engineering, you know, background as well.
Yeah.
Like the shit that we've learned is, and like working with teams and groups and shit. That's like, but you know, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Do you think that when you started like actually having a labor job, do you think that's when you started to kind of shift a bit?
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like, I didn't really have a real job until, like, I did that concrete job. Like, I'm not gonna say it's a real job because I got paid under the table. I got paid well, but, like, it was, like, I was doing work. I got to see when I finished concrete slabs or I finished any sort of project, I got to see the smile on the client's face, and I was like, I'm actually doing something that people, like, enjoy. Like, I actually, like, saw joy in people's face, like, versus, like, in high school, I just, like, got everything handed to me. So, like, I feel like you don't really know what the worth of things are in high school because everything is so, like, oh, you just go home, you do your homework, you go hang out with your friends, you have fun. Like, you don't...
Another issue with kids who get shit handed to them in college, too.
And
Some
I think,
do,
and
yeah.
I think, I wouldn't say, like, the majority of people do or anything because a lot of, like, college is hard. Like, even if you get stuff handed to you, like, college isn't easy. I wouldn't say for anybody. Like, you still have to put in the time no matter what.
That's true. That's true. I would say, you know, I've been able to, I guess, I've had the luck, I'm not going to say that, but I've been able to work, like, every summer, and it's all labor jobs, and I feel like that kind of assisted in my, like, development as a kid, and I appreciated things more, because every summer I would work for, like, one thing, and I would buy, like, one piece of clothing or one thing, like a backpack that was like really nice for hiking or something. Or one summer I actually bought a shotgun for hunting and for shooting clay pigeons and stuff. And that was like super gratifying to right at the end of the summer go to the game fair and like find a shotgun dealer and then go and buy it with the money that I earned. I was 14. That's pretty cool, man. That's hundreds of dollars, and for a 14-year-old, you're like, holy shit, this is a big investment. And I mean, the gun's giving me nothing but problems, but like it's literally broke 4 times. But you know, that taught me a lesson though.
Yeah,
that you work for something.
Yeah, I think like working for something, like it really does show, like, so when I was doing concrete work, like midway through the summer, I hit a deer with my car, and then obviously I was under my grandpa's insurance. I still am. I'm grateful. He pays for my insurance. God bless.
I appreciate that.
But so I hit that deer, and I was like, thank God that I work concrete and get paid cash, because I'm making like $800 a week, which is like, it's okay, you know? Like, I'm making money. But then I have like $2,400 saved up, and I'm like, I need a new car.
Shit.
So I'm like, okay, let's do this. So me and my grandpa go looking, and I still have her today, the old 2004 Buick LeSabre. She's functioning. She drives. But, like, buying that first car, like, yeah, it ain't much, but, like, it's your first car, and it's my car. You know what I mean? Like, I bought that car. Nobody helped me buy that car.
Right.
And, like, that self-satisfaction that you feel from buying your own things, it's just like something I feel like that's when you grow up. When you like start to buy and you start to like work towards things as an individual instead of just getting it handed to you is when you like start to grow up.
You know, I think work is a really good metaphor for what I consider maturity. And let me tie these two things together. So maturity is delayed gratification. And work, you have to wait for your paycheck. You put in all this freaking work and you know, hours and hours and hours, and you get paid per hour, you get your money, and then you can finally get that gratification. Instant delayed gratification. And I think work essentially just teaches you maturity. And so in the future, when we're actually like real adults, I would consider us real adults when we have 100%. A job, you know, and we're actually having a house, like a decent car, and, you know, maybe even kids or something, but you're like working for something, and that's all just maturity, I feel like. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100% agree with you. Like right now, even like, yeah, you're kind of like in the development phase of like being your own person, but like you still like you don't have a full-time job, you don't have a family, like you don't have the best car. But like once you're done with college, I feel like you really like these are the things you strive for. Like you want to get a house, you want to have a wife, you want to have kids, you want to have a nice car. Like these are the things like you want to strive for in life, and like the more you try to strive for these things, I feel like your maturity kind of grows and grows as like you kind of like want these things more and more, if that makes sense.
Oh, hell yeah. It's all that delayed gratification, like that. You just think about it, you see the end of the tunnel sort of, and you're just working for it. And I feel like one thing I will say is that people forget to stop and like look around. Like you're traveling right now.
Crazy.
You're traveling to that endpoint, and some people lose track of they are traveling. They just think about that endpoint, and they don't stop to think, I'm on a roadie right now. Like we're going New York to LA, and my mind is on LA, but I got to look around a little bit.
And like I don't want to talk about it now, but like one of those look around moments for me was like DK 2019, baby. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel I like even like
yeah, we can get into it, bro.
DK 2018, like Trenton went. Like, I'm not gonna hold it back, you know. Like, shut up. But you know, like that was probably like, if I boil it down, that was probably like one of the most maturing moments in my life. Like, I traveled the world. Like, us like as a group, we traveled. Like, whoever went on that trip experienced something that most people will never get to experience. Mm-hmm. Like, you just got dropped somewhere you've never been, just completely foreign to you, and you're like, you're just doing it.
Copenhagen, Svendborg, Skane, Amsterdam, Budapest,
Hungary,
Innsbruck, Hungary,
everywhere.
Italy, bro. It was so many different places, and like, I was so grateful during that trip. That was one of the moments in my life where I was like, just enjoy this shit. Like, take photos. Don't only take photos. Stare at what you're looking like. Remember this.
And that's what I was saying. Like, you just had talked about it. Like, look around. Like, I looked and like, it'll never. You could take pictures. You could do what you want to do. all the memories in your brain of you like looking around will always be there. Like a picture could never do justice for like what that experience gave to like each individual.
Bro, I know every single time I look at a photo, I'm just like, God damn, that's not what it looked like. Like, it's close, but it's just not quite there. And it's always like, because I specifically remember the first trip. I was like taking so many photos, and I just got lost in the sauce of taking photos. I was just like, man, I got to take so many photos, remember all this. And then after that first trip, I was like looking back, I'm like, damn, these aren't even that good. I just got to like look. I just got to look and remember this. I got to take some videos.
Oh, dude, that was an issue I had in fucking when we were in Budapest. I took like a bunch of pictures. I took a picture of like a fucking Porsche, like 911 on like the side of the road. And I was like, why the fuck do I have this picture? Like, it means nothing to me. I took a picture of the sunset. I was like, what is this reminding me of? Nothing. Fuck, like the only thing I remember is getting hammered on the boat wearing sunglasses at like 8 p.m. So it was like, it was just ridiculous. Like all the pictures I have, I don't even look back on them. I don't even think about my pictures because they're fucking useless to me.
Yeah, man, it kind of reminds me when I look back. Well, you know, you reminding me of the Budapest stuff, and man, that kind of gets like this warm fuzzy feeling of like, man, we were out there. Like that shit's so interesting,
weird,
you know?
Man. Like,
It was surreal.
It really
like
was.
it's just weird, like being here and like talking about it now, like so far past. Like it's not so far past, but when you like look back on like the date of which you were on the trip experiencing that moment, it just feels like so long ago. Like I feel like I've done so much. Like I feel like we came back to school and like we've been here for so long, and like this will be the second summer now.
Yeah.
Since like coming up here, like
that's crazy, bro.
it is crazy.
It's weird to think that like we transferred, so like we've already been here this is our third semester, and it just flies. Like I don't know, it's
quick,
like
dude.
It's a weird thing to think about. Like just time goes, man. You just
Like,
gotta take time to appreciate what you're in.
And like it boils down to like what you said, like experience the moment, look around, don't forget what's going on around you. Like you said, people get so lost in the end goal that like once you hit the end goal, you're like, I got so lost looking at the end goal, like I didn't even realize what was happening around me. Like you're gonna graduate college, you're gonna be like, dude, I miss my friends. Mm-hmm. Like where's this connection? Like you're gonna have this empty spot. Like you're gonna be like,
dude, that's why I'm so happy we're doing this fucking podcast.
Like
man,
that's what I'm saying.
We get to talk to like this is getting me so
you're
warm
gonna,
inside, man.
You're gonna like look back. It's gonna be like 10 years down the line, and we're gonna be like, we're so happy that we started like doing these things, like these pods. Like you know what I mean? Like talk about times and moments that happen, so later on in life you can talk about them and rejoice, because you're gonna really appreciate it in the end.
Hell yeah.
Like
Oh yeah, the first podcast that like me and Dan did, like I listened to that. Not like, what was it? No, I listened to the Super Tuesday 2021. That was the first one I listened to.
Man.
And we were just talking like about like all these politicians and like everybody in the race at the time. And it was just like, I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about like myself at that time, and I was like, that is so crazy. Like how much time has gone since then? It's been like almost 6 months.
Yeah,
Almost 6 months since we started this podcast.
So long.
that's insane.
And like how many people have you had on the pod since then? You know, like
Almost 20.
Yeah, probably around 20.
20. Well, this will be episode 25.
it's just so
Okay.
So
many.
we've had about like 22 people.
Oh, it's just so many in 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, that's
man,
awesome, man.
That's crazy.
I love
Just think
thinking
about like
it.
as time goes, like we'll look back, like this is going to be on YouTube forever. Like I'm not going to take this down. This is going to be there forever. And even if me and Dan stop doing this podcast, like we can look back on this 6, 10, 15 years from now, and they're going to be there.
Anytime you
Man,
want, man.
like,
Like it's just crazy.
And we'll just get to listen to us bullshit and like think about like how dumb we were back then, and like all like the shit that we're saying, and like how we sound, the shit that we're talking about, and like reminiscing on the past in the past. Like it's so trippy.
So
Hell yeah,
weird,
man.
dude. Like,
He's gonna be all like smiley and
I
shit.
know,
Just
like-
when you think about the past, man, like
dude, it's just wild.
like the shit you remember. Like, cause when I think about Denmark, I remember like specifically walking through like Budapest, and there was no rhyme or reason for it, but we were all just jamming to like Lee's backpack boombox.
It's like a big old speaker.
Yeah, and we had, I don't remember what specific song was playing, but man, we were just like literally drinking beer and
Dude,
walking,
yes.
and for whatever reason that sticks out to me. And it was like this euphoric moment of like we're just fucking in life,
just doing it.
kicking the dust, walking around with people, doing jack shit, having fun.
Dude, that's literally the whole 2 months in Europe in a nutshell. Like, you could, like, narrow it down. Like, I couldn't break it down day by day, but, like, you could look back at so many memories, like, different memories. Like, me and Maddie were talking about this. Like, if you got all the people who went on your specific trip, like, I know, Trenton, you didn't go with us, obviously. Sadly.
I wish, dude.
But,
I still had a great time.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like, I feel like anybody who went on that trip had a great time. But, like, if you get your whole group together and you just reminisce on the times you had, like, it's just the weirdest feeling of nostalgia. Like, even though you're not there, just those people and, like, those interactions of, like, remembering what happened is just so crazy to me.
Like that
I just-
Lachlan's.
That's sigh,
We
bro.
don't talk about it.
Well, just like
How you were reminiscing at
Yeah,
Lachlan's.
we were just sitting around the table like just bullshitting, and there was like what 10 or 11 of us
Yeah,
in there,
there's-
and there was like a couple other kids just like listening to it, and they're like, Jesus Christ, you guys like have like some of the craziest stories about
it-
what happened.
Man, and I feel like that's exactly what's gonna happen when we're done with here, like at college in
like,
general.
And that's what it's gonna be, dude. Like you literally take like every part of your life is just like a little fragment of something. Like you could go to your high school and you'd be like, oh, I reminisce on these times and they're so like good. But like you have to be with them certain people to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like obviously me and you wouldn't have the same connection if I was like, oh, let's talk about high school. If we were like, oh, let's talk about ICC. We could
yeah.
easily find stuff to like reminisce about
Yeah.
ICC.
What would we? Yeah,
You
it's
know
like the
what I mean?
power of like multiples and remembering. Like, who was I talking to this about? But like, when you're with other people and you start remembering stuff, and it's like a handful of people there, you remember so many more details.
It is.
because everyone starts hopping in.
It's because people, like, the more people that you have around that were there,
Right here.
the more people that you have around at the time, the more people that remember a different input of that specific moment that happens, if that makes sense. So, like...
Right, because
so, like,
everyone remembers a different
So
thing,
if we brought,
and they all add
if
to
we
it.
brought 20 people from the year we went to Denmark, and we talked about something in particular, like, that we were all in Denmark about...
Move this way.
Everybody might talk about something that was just a little bit different. And it's just crazy because everybody's point of view is different.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, it's interesting to hear what other people
You good?
talk about.
Cool, thank you. I agree with you. I think it was our buddy Tommy, and we all have like little distinct things that stick out to you because everyone's different and everyone remembers differently and everyone values different stuff, right? So like everyone has a different distinct little blippet of Budapest. Everyone has a distinct little blippet of Svenborg. Everyone remembers that differently, and I specifically remember so many like stupid things, and everyone else remembers so many stupid things, and we all put it together and it just makes this awesome little
It's just such a good little...
whatever. I don't know what it
I don't
is,
know
just
what you wanna call it.
like just story, I guess.
Hey, hold on,
so
we got
good.
some mic issues. I think. Did you unplug your mic at all?
Mine?
No, Terrell.
Uh-oh, you turn it down? Oh yeah,
Yeah,
turn
you
down.
did. You must have turned it down.
my bad.
Shit, I wonder for how long.
It was just like, I don't know. Oh well, just.
It is what it is.
It is what it
I
is.
bet you could hear.
Yeah,
We
it's
make
fine.
mistakes here.
That was
yeah,
my
just make sure we aren't like tapping that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good. You're good.
Cool.
Denmark, bro.
Denmark. Another time we'll have to get more in detail about that.
Yeah, we can get some other people on for that.
You could...
What time we at?
Hour and 8 minutes. An hour and 8.
Okay. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, we're getting the Instagram going though. We got an Instagram page. We're on what, Spotify,
iTunes, YouTube.
iTunes,
And YouTube, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. No, we're not done. We're not done. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
We're just throwing
Oh no,
it
yeah,
out
we
there.
definitely got the Instagram. We can link that in our description and stuff.
Yeah.
I think on YouTube we should do that. Yeah. What you thinking?
Dude, I don't
You
know,
wanna be
like...
tagged in it? You want to be tagged on Instagram?
I do want to be tagged because I actually kind of want to like follow. Like I don't follow the Instagram at the moment because I haven't like.
Yeah,
I
it's-
didn't know you guys had it on.
We
Instagram, to be
just
honest.
started it.
Okay.
Within the last week.
Yeah, 100%.
days ago.
Tag me in that 'Cause I'll follow too.
Absolutely.
I want to definitely follow this podcast, especially on Instagram because it's so easy.
Dude, I just re-downloaded Instagram. I didn't have Instagram for, man, I don't even know how long.
Probably healthy for the brain.
Months.
You didn't have it when we did our first podcast. I know that.
Okay, well I didn't. So it's probably 6 months, I'd say.
Yeah, I
And-
think you just deleted it.
I had gone on maybe 20 total times where I would like check one thing and then get off. It was like maybe a minute, and it, you know, because my sister always posts these like kind of like life story updates, and she lives in California, so I want to keep up
Okay.
with her. And so I'm like, oh well, you know, maybe I'll check that thing out, and I gotta like contact this person, so I'll do that. Oh, I wonder what this person's up to, and it would all just be like a 1 minute snippet.
It'd be just
For 6 months total, so I probably spent like less than an hour entirety for the last 6 months on it. And the reason I did that, I'll say this too, is that I was spending literally 2 hours a day on Instagram alone.
mindlessly.
Mindlessly.
Yeah.
And you know, when we're talking about doing nonsense and trying to be in the moment,
Yep.
and you know, be around, like think about the things around you, just be in the moment, be present. Instagram was taken away from that.
Let's just say, like, you don't even have to limit that to, like, Instagram. You can just limit that to, like, technology in general. Like, people spend so much time on their phone, like, you get, like, lost in the sauce. Like you said, you're just, like, people, like, that are on TikTok or Instagram or any app, you know what I mean? Like, you can mindlessly just scroll for hours and hours about stuff that will just... And the thing is, it just goes out of your head. You see it, it's gone. You see it, it's gone. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
and that's how it is. Like, people don't realize that, but like, and I mean, there's hundreds of people, thousands, millions of people who are guilty of doing it. It's just like
Probably billions, honestly.
probably billions, honestly. But like, technology does hinder people from like seeing what's really going around in your life. Like, I'll be in class and I'll be like, oh, I'd rather be on Snapchatting people than like watching what's happening in Steels. So this year I've been like, oh, I need to like just set my phone down. I need to pay attention to what's going on.
Yes, because the shit we're learning right now is important. This is
can't-
life.
You can't be missing what's happening.
No, you can't misdesign a steel beam in a skyscraper because people will die. And you want to check
Sure.
Snapchat over that shit? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Like,
A 30,
no.
30 seconds isn't worth thousands of people's lives. Let's just say.
Literally. So yeah, I've been trying to make that you know.
And I know other people have too. I know Tommy's been doing really good with it, but like, I feel like a lot of people, like, if you just set down the phone, even like limit how much time you're on it per day, you'd be surprised with like how much more stuff you'll do in a given day. Like, it's just crazy to me. Like screen time, like alone, like just how often do you actually make contact with your eyes to your phone on a daily basis? What would you guys say? Like,
Oh, you can get an app
2 or
for it
3
actually.
hours.
You can get a literal app that will tell you how many hours you spend like on your phone. And like the average, I think, for like the nation is like 8 hours a day.
that's horrid.
Yeah.
Or it's like 6, or no, it's not 8 hours. It's probably like 6 hours a day.
That's still pretty horrid. Like, either way you look at it, like, that blows my mind. 6 hours a day.
Today I spent 2.5.
And that, like, I feel like like,
A lot.
Fucking busy.
Yeah, and you were busy.
And,
You know what
dude,
I mean?
that's so true. I was so busy today.
like,
how did I spend that much
two and a
time?
half on a busy day. It's just crazy.
All right. Well, I spent an hour and 20 on Snapchat and then 42 on YouTube. And I think I may have been doing something on YouTube. You know, you always try
Yeah,
to like,
like-
rationalize it, like, oh well, no, I was doing something productive. Like,
Yeah.
no, you
It was
fucking
useful
weren't.
information.
You're watching. God, no.
Oh yeah, that commercial about like the Note, what was it, Note 9 or whatever that came out, and they had people like on the bus doing work before work, and I was like, that's bullshit. No one would
No.
fucking do that. Everyone's playing like Among Us for free or something. Like playing Minecraft on their fucking big ass Note that's essentially a tablet.
Dude,
like,
I know, right? Well, I think they're yeah. Anyways, I that's crazy. How did I spend 2.5 today? Like, it's just like you like open it and check it and then close it.
You just don't.
And you just do that, like,
don't think
100
about,
times.
Yeah, you do it like 50, 60 times. You're like, that's 2.5 hours of screen time.
Dog,
like, it's
that's-
just like.
That's why I've been thinking about like getting a flip phone. And I know like so
Yeah, like
looked down upon.
say what you want. Like,
You can only-
dog on the flip phone. Dog on the flip phone. Anybody can shit on the flip phone.
Jeez.
Yeah,
that was
wild.
That's the first pot. That's the first fart on the pod.
On the pod.
No, it's not.
Well, the one that we've like
It's
heard.
the first audible fart on the pod.
It goes.
Yes, that's what I was trying to
The
say.
Denmark recap, dude. I was gassing. The Denmark recap, dude. I was
Gassing it
gassing that room like it was Auschwitz. It wasn't even.
Oh, dude, bad.
Dude, I like that pod.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
we
Too soon.
Yeah, we walked those.
It's always too soon for like.
We walked the concentration camps. It's
Oh
pretty.
yeah, we don't need to get into that. I'm
Yeah,
really feeling
definitely.
depressed.
Yeah.
You guys go to?
We don't need to get into
Yeah,
dreams or anything
yeah,
either.
let's
save it for a different.
We'll save
time.
it for a different pod for sure.
Yeah.
We can.
You're gonna be there for sure.
Oh,
yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
back.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The wise words of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back.
I'll
you
be
know,
back.
From Terminator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the
All right.
reference.
What were we? Screen time.
The only
Jesus
three
Screen
words.
Christ.
time.
The only 3 words of Arnold that we can understand.
Oh, you even said that like terribly.
Oh, no, but screen time, like even with like TikTok, it's such a big app. Like, you quantify like your 2.5 hours. Like, people spend more time than that just on TikTok alone. Like, you're maybe even double that
Oh
time.
yeah. Yeah, dude. High school kids, man,
Like-
they don't have a job and they're just like bored.
they just
at
have
home.
no time. They're like, well, I'll just invest my time into this, and I'm like, it's not real life. Like, honestly, it's really not when you think about it. Like, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat,
It's a warped sense of reality.
it is.
Entirely. Like TikTok, like, you know, Instagram, like most of those Instagram biddies and like bitches on Instagram that have like model pages, like those are mostly edited photos. Like, people don't actually look like that.
No.
There's filters, there's edits where you can like put makeup on your face to make yourself look prettier. You can make your waist look thinner in a video. You can literally like get an app that makes you look thinner in a fucking video.
That's like why lie about it?
Yeah, like,
Why not just attain it?
like, and that's
Or why
another-
not just accept yourself?
and
Like,
that-
you're beautiful.
if we wanna if we wanna get on that
Women
topic,
that's listening to this pod that does that, you're beautiful.
yeah, like, if we want to get like on a topic, like, there's nothing wrong with like somebody who's natural, and like I feel like that's a big problem in the world today. Like, it's like people almost look up to people who are like not trying to be a version of themselves, and I feel like that's kind of a problem. Like, if you're like trying to be somebody who you're not, like, that's just not okay to me. If that makes any
Yeah,
sense
you
at all.
don't, like, you're saying be your true self.
Be your true self. Like, if you're like, oh, I need makeup to like look pretty, or like I need to do this to look pretty, like, you don't need it. Like, just because other people wear it and that's what's pretty, like, I just use quotations, obviously, like, whoever can see it, like,
Pretty?
yeah, like, you don't
Enunciation.
need that. Like, you're beautiful in yourself. Like, I feel like every person's beautiful in their own way.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. I think that, man, I swear, like, especially fat people, bro, they got the best personalities. Like,
They do.
Every fat person has a better personality. Well, that's not necessarily true. A lot of fat people have amazing
They're so
personalities.
funny, dude.
Yes!
They're funny.
Dude, why do you think
Funny! Like,
Why do you think I'm so funny sometimes? Because I was like 270 pounds at one point. I was a big fuck.
big boy.
Big boy.
Dude, you're looking nice now. You're looking nice now.
does, dude. Look at him over there behind the
I
computer.
know. No, yeah, man.
Oh,
I think
man.
people just gotta work at it. Like, people just gotta. Man, I'm just like throwing, like telling people how to live, but
Like, I just, like, don't try to be like someone who, like,
Don't try to be.
don't try to be someone else. Like, be yourself. Like, if you want to, like, have the qualities that somebody else has, like, yeah, you can strive for that, but like, don't try to be that person, if that makes sense.
yeah, I feel like we all kind of do that to an extent. Like, you see someone in a movie, or like you like follow someone on Instagram or whatever, what have you. You know, maybe
Yeah.
you watch a YouTube video and you're like, damn, I kind of like how he does that one thing, or
Yeah.
she does that one thing even.
And like I said, that's where it gets to the point where, like, yeah, you could strive to, like, kind of achieve that quality, but like, don't try to be like, I want to be just like that person.
I think the distinction would be like, that person is fucking determined. I want to be that determined. Like, that's a good quality to pick up.
and that's a very good quality, because like, being determined is a really good, like, quality or trait to have. Like, be determined to, like, want to be a better version of yourself. And like people who do that usually over the course of time like end up being a better version of themselves if they can stick to it. Like I mean, look at Trenton. Like he's a prime example. Like I'm not gonna like
sexy human.
I'm not gonna like call you out, but like you used to be overweight, correct? Like okay, that's okay, but look at now. You're like a way better version of yourself now than you were before. And
Trent's always been sexy, but he's just more sexy.
He's
now.
more sexy.
I mean, I'm literally like the same person, and like one of the biggest things is I've noticed is I've had people tell me like to my face, they're like, I will never meet someone like you again, because I am like, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I'm a very
unique
person.
Yeah,
I'm
I
a
would
very
agree.
different type of person. Like I got paint high at Steffes, and I bought this podcast. I bought this podcast equipment. Like this is like the sole reason this is here was because fucking somebody closed the vents at work, and I didn't know about it, and I got wicked high. So like it just
best
purchase
just
ever. It can hardly function.
It's crazy, and like you guys are unique too in your own ways, and that's like why I don't want to say attracted, but like I'm attracted to your personality. Like we're friends because of the fact that you guys aren't like anybody else I know.
That's very true, man. Like that's why
Oh, it's so weird how that works.
I don't know. I'm just kind of
Like the crowd you want to be a part of is like people who you want to be around, and it's just like interesting that there's so much kind of like they're like very similar to how you are, but they're very different in their own way, if that makes sense. Like me and you have a lot in common.
a lot. I was
And
just
then
thinking that.
Me and Trenton, we have a lot in common. You and Trenton have a lot in common, but then we're all so different on our own like planes of like who we are as a person that it's just like it just makes sense.
Dude,
like,
it's
together,
so cool.
it's just weird. You know what I mean?
It's interesting, yeah.
Oh, it's so interesting.
Oh, it's with everybody inside the friend group. Like think about Lee, think about Nas,
Oh,
like
just-
think about Tom, and
Everyone,
Tom too.
dude.
Like think about like everybody that you know. And I try to the people that stick out most in my mind are the people that are the most unique, right? The people that do
Yeah.
like the weirdest shit, and those are the people like I've always been the closest with, is because they're just so weird, they're just so different, and it's the fact that like I'll never ever meet someone like them again because they're too unique.
Yeah, I remember the poker nights. Sam
boy.
told me this. He goes, man, we were just sitting at poker the other night. And this is Sam. He goes, we were sitting at poker the other night, and I was just looking around the table, and he was in a state of mind that was, well, let's just say he was drunk. He was drunk, and he was like looking around, and everyone's so unique, man. And everyone is so different, and we're all just goofy as hell, and like we're all so like all different planes,
It's so
and we all make sense together. Like we all make sense as like really close friends, you know, because we're all so unique, and but it all meshes, and it's just a weird thought.
It is. It really is just the weirdest thought to have. Like, you're friends with people who are equally as unique as you are. And then when you're all together, it just all clicks together in its own way. Like, it almost just all interlocks together.
Yeah.
Like, we're together now on this pod. We're talking about certain things. Then Trenton comes in, and what he says makes sense exactly to what we're talking about. And it's just like, it's just so different. I just don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting. I definitely vibe with like very, very honest people, you know, like very, very, I don't know, kind of blunt, and like I don't really vibe with like those fake like like I don't
100%. We don't vibe with the DMT guys.
It's like you didn't take fucking DMT.
No, you didn't, dude.
Oh,
Maybe like 3 hours ago.
Let's just say,
Like
if you,
you took it 16 minutes ago, it's not in your system anymore. Like,
right, it metabolizes. Yeah,
it'd almost
extremely
be like
fast.
the guy that's like, yeah, I was driving a car and then I took salvia and I was fine. Like no,
Wait, what is
you
salvia?
weren't. You've never. It's like I don't want to like get
Is
down.
there
to-
an alternative name for it?
I'm not gonna get into like the logistics of what it is, but I've seen via video of people doing it. Pretty much, you smoke it out of like a bong or like some sort of piece.
Okay.
And then the video I watched was a guy gardening, and he's like, "This is what I'm gonna do." and he explained like a 5-step process of how he's gonna plant.
Oh, it's so Salvia divinorum is a plant species with transient psychoactive properties. When its leaves are consumed by chewing, smoking, or as a tea, the leaves contain an opioid-like compounds that induce hallucinations.
Do you know if are there like any alternative names for it?
Sage.
Nothing else. Okay.
No,
I've never heard of
it's
it.
Like it's kind of like in the same family as like peyote.
Peyote. Okay, I've heard of peyote.
Okay.
Or like
Yeah,
white
I've-
sage and shit.
I've heard that like it's very like once you like do it, it's so overwhelming that you just kind of like can't really use your bodily
function.
Yeah, you can't use your bodily functions. It's almost kind
Do
of
you
like
go unconscious like DMT?
kind of like DMT,
Okay.
almost like I wouldn't say unconscious, but like you're kind of laying there doing your own thing, like you're not. Yeah.
Well, so
You're not using your bodily functions like you'd be able to.
well, that sounds extremely stupid.
Yeah.
To be driving
no,
and doing that.
No, like yeah, it would be. But like,
And that's why it's untrue.
that's why it's untrue
yeah,
because it's impossible.
Right.
Like nobody would.
You're going
do,
unconscious.
Yeah,
Basically.
nobody would do
Can't
that.
Yeah.
Just that guy at the gym, dude. Like, why do you have to say it? Like, why do I have to have my headset off? Like, if I wouldn't have heard
just
it, it
ruins your
wouldn't have been
day.
a story, dude. I was like, I just wanted to walk over there. Like, why do you gotta lie?
Dude, I swear to God, like one thing a day will just set me off.
Oh,
like one thing
I
that a
100%
random person
100%
does.
agree.
And it's just a
you,
little thing.
You just like overhear it and you're like, did I hear that?
Can I just
right?
punch this guy in the head? Like, can I just punch this guy in the
Can I
head?
just cop a domestic just quickly?
Dude, straight up though, like the other day I was I think I told this to you, but I was just like I was incline benching, right? And I wanted to use like the shoulder press kind of seat that's like a small L, and I like it because I can kind of like prop my shoulder blades like on the back of it because the back is kind of shorter. I don't like using the long benches because like my head hits it and shit and it just bothers me. And there's this fucking kid who like did literally one set to like my 4, and I do long ass sets, and he sat on his phone the whole fucking time. And I was like, dude, if you're gonna come to the gym, lift. Like, don't just sit on your phone in a spot and wear a super duper tight tank top with these tiny skinny little arms and just piss me off, and everybody else in the gym piss him off too. And he also smelled like shit too. That was another big thing. Like, he just stunk.
God, people that stink are the worst.
I mean,
Honestly, they're worse than smokers.
Yeah,
They're worse
I like
than,
the
like-
smell of cigarettes, kind of.
not gonna lie, like I'm approaching that like, I mean, when you got that sweat smell, you know, like that's like a work hard smell, you know what I mean? But like when you just stink, like I don't know, man.
You, like,
Something else.
you have to like try to stink. I feel like. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it's-
personally shower twice a day.
Yeah, I shower once in the morning usually, and then once after my lift.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yep,
If
same
I
here.
lift that day, if I don't, then it's once a day.
Same here, exactly the same. But when I'm in the gym, you know, I'll have that morning shower, so I'm all fresh, and then I'll go to the gym. And typically, I don't stink after my lift until the sweat dries.
Yep.
When I'm sweaty, I don't stink. I literally, it's just sweat. It's just like water.
And then it dries up, and then you
Then
get
you
that
reek.
aroma. Then you get that aroma,
You're
and
like,
it's just like.
I gotta, because it's like I don't know what it is. I think it's the sweat drying or something, and then you get that smell from.
And you know what's weird? I think like if you really want to like quantify what that smell is, like the football locker room.
That's a good one.
You sweat in that equipment, and then you like take it off, and then it just has that time to just like dry and just like produce that aroma that just stinks.
the
And like the
worst,
hockey
man.
locker room, you like your whole body, like you take off all this gear that's just mad sweaty, and then you're just like everybody leaves it in there, and then you come in the next day, you're like.
This one's stinking here.
This would smell if I wasn't used to it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's like I've heard that there's like a bacteria that's able to survive in the cool, like refrigerated climate that is the hockey arena, and
believe it.
so that bacteria gets into like hockey players' pads, and that's what causes the stench. Is because all other bacteria does not live through going to hockey practice in the cool arena and then, you know, going back out and drying off. But this specific one does, and that's why it stinks.
So interesting.
I've heard chick locker rooms, hockey locker rooms, are like 30 times worse though.
Really?
Yeah, because they try to drench that shit in like perfume.
Oh,
and it makes
wow.
it
Makes it
disgusting.
worse.
Because you're adding just like chemicals into it, and it's just like
no.
concoctions in there. And then, you know, girls kind of stink too. So like,
Well, everybody
Oh, everyone stinks, but like girls especially. And so, dude, that it's real nasty. At least from what I understand.
No, yeah,
I
like,
don't know. Like,
I mean, I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
yeah.
It is what it is.
Oh shit. We're on hour 30, boys.
All right. Yeah. Well,
I mean,
thank you so much for being on
Thanks
here.
for having me, guys.
Yeah, we got to get
fun.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we got to do homework, man. Like, we're college students. Like, we go all night. You know what it is, but we got to call it quits.
Yeah, we got to
like,
adult.
I'll be
We'll be
back.
back on quick.
We'll be back on.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you much for being on here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.